Hi. Hola.
Hi, hier ist Mr. Döse.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Adidas A16 Plus Pure Control in the Mercury pack colorway. Now inside the box they do include a couple of extras to go along with the shoes. The first thing you get is a shoe horn. Given that this is a laceless shoe, the shoe horn can be helpful to actually put them on. It isn't necessary to use this every single time, but like I said, it does make things a little bit easier. They also include an extra set of comfort insoles to go along with the lightweight ones already in the shoes. These feature a synthetic suede liner and a slightly thicker layer of foam. Again, a nice little extra that they do include for the $300 retail price. They also include a string bag. The string bag is a black perforated mesh with black strings. It has the Adidas logo on one side as well as the Ace logo on the other side. And it's actually stitched down the middle, so you have two individual compartments within the one string bag, which is kind of cool but not entirely necessary. And then of course you get the shoes themselves. So we'll get these out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at what is a really bright colorway of the A16 Plus Pure Control, essentially a metallic silver or chrome color with that bright neon yellow, in this case solar yellow from Adidas, as an accent. So in today's video we are going to take a closer look at the colorway itself. We're going to talk tech specs, performance features, talk about how these things fit and feel on feet, and essentially cover everything that you need to know about the A16 Plus Pure Control in the Mercury pack colorway. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $300 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk tech specs and performance with the A16 Plus Pure Control. Now, if you've watched any of my content on this particular shoe on the channel, you know that I'm not too crazy about the Pure Control and the laceless concept in general. I think it's a very cool idea, but the final execution of the product is not the best from a performance standpoint based on my personal experience. I know some people have been wearing this shoe and they actually like them, but for me, as well as I know a lot of people as well, they just haven't been too crazy with them. And the reasoning for that is the fact that the laceless system doesn't allow for any adjustability, and it leads to issues when it comes to lockdown, which I'm going to explain in this video very briefly. But if you guys want as much information on what my experience was like with the A16 Plus Pure Control and the laceless system in general, there'll be a little thing that flashes on screen that I'll take you to my playtest video where I break everything down. It's a long video, so have some time set aside to listen to what I have to say, but the information in that vid, like I said, is very, very important if you are at all considering spending $300 on a pair of Pure Controls. Now, with this shoe, you are of course getting the laceless system. That is the main reason why you would pick these up, or at least that's what I would think most people would really want if you're interested in this particular shoe. And the lack of laces doesn't really offer any kind of benefit from a touch standpoint. They obviously label it as the Pure Control, but your control and touch on the ball by no means will get better or worse with this particular shoe. It simply doesn't have laces, almost for the sake of not having laces. It's change for the sake of change, if that makes any sense. Whereas laces, what they normally do in a soccer shoe, just to kind of make things very, very simple here, is that laces allow both sides of the upper to be connected to each other. They allow for adjustability and they allow for lockdown. They are pushing your foot down into the base of the sole, which in turn doesn't allow it to slide from side to side, doesn't allow it to shift front to back given that you get the right size, and doesn't allow your foot to bounce up and down or move up and down on the inside of the shoe. Now, because this doesn't have any laces, you lose all of that adjustability. You slide your foot inside, and once your foot's in there, that's the way the shoe fits. There's nothing to adjust. There's no way to make it tighter. There's no way to make it looser. The way it fits is the way that it fits. So for that reason, this is one of those shoes that if you are considering them, it's hard to recommend whether or not they're actually going to fit you properly. You kind of just have to put them on and decide right at that point if you like how they feel or if you don't like how they feel return them, exchange them, do whatever you got to do, because like I said, there's no adjustability to the shoe. The way it fits is the way it fits, and that's it. But that's how a laceless system is going to work. So basically what's going on here is you have a prime knit upper that looks very similar to the A16.1 prime knit, which is the laced version of this shoe. That actually is significantly different. That shoe has a straight up prime knit upper that really does have the thin, soft, flexible kind of knitted sock-like feel that you would expect from something like prime knit. In the case of the PURECONTROL, yes, it has the look of a knitted upper, but there is actually a microfiber liner on the entire inside of the shoe that adds a lot of stiffness. There's more thickness to this upper. It's not as flexible. It doesn't really feel soft on your foot. And it honestly doesn't feel like a knitted upper. It feels more like a kind of firmer, harder synthetic material, if that makes any sense. Now, the way that the fastening or securing system works on this shoe, because there aren't any laces, is you have elasticated prime knit here that's exposed on the top, and then underneath that you have their internal tech fit knitted collar system or knitted internal structure that basically runs across the top of the foot. So you have two layers of knitted material here where the laces would normally be positioned, and then you have extension pieces that run down the sides of the shoe to kind of lock your foot in place more securely. Now, like I said, once your foot's in there, you slide everything in place. That's how it is. There's no way to adjust it. And in order to kind of counteract that, in order to build in some kind of structure to the upper, because you don't have laces, they implemented the Adidas stripes here on the lateral side, which they're not just there for branding. This is actually a thin layer of kind of flexible plastic that does have some stiffness to it, and it significantly stiffens this area of the upper. So that's the one part of the upper that you're really going to notice when you slide these on, in terms of just feeling a little bit harder against your foot and perhaps slightly uncomfortable depending on how they fit you, is right in this area, because that branding is there for actual structure to the upper that would normally be provided by laces, whereas on the medial side, you don't really have anything. Now granted, once your foot's in there and you're just standing in them, they actually feel pretty good, aside from the little bit of stiffness right here. They're pretty secure. Once you start jogging around, you're not really going to have too many issues with them. There is a lot of pressure in the heel area just because there isn't a lot of lockdown. The laces are normally what would push your heel back into the shoe and keep it locked there, but because you don't have laces to do that, like I said, there is more pressure on your heel, just because even though it's not necessarily slipping, it has that, it wants to move out of the shoe, but it's still staying in place just because there is some decent amount of padding back there. But like I said, that constant pressure always remains. And when you're making those quick cuts and lateral changes of direction, like you guys see in my playtest video, there isn't a lot of movement in the upper. The shoe is surprisingly responsive given that it doesn't have any laces. The issue is, like I said, in the heel, and that it's not perfectly locked in or not locked in secure enough, as well as the movement of your foot up and down. And this will be better or worse for you depending on the sizing. If you get the right size, it's not going to be so bad, although I had them in the right size and it still was pretty annoying for me. But if they're especially too big, that's where you're really going to have issues in regards to proper lockdown. Now, because of this laceless system, this center part is elasticated, and the reason why it's elasticated is so you can actually get your foot in and out of the shoe. Now, the problem with that is just because the shoe is on your foot and it feels tight doesn't mean that this can't stretch more, and upon harder forces, mainly for me when planting to strike the ball, this part would stretch. My foot would kind of move up from the bottom of the sole plate just because there's nothing pushing it in. This top part would stretch, and I'd find my foot moving front and back, my heel lifting up and down, and again, you just lose the lockdown and security that you would expect from any soccer shoe, let alone one that costs $300. So for me, that's the major design flaw of the laceless system. I don't really care for it, but I know some people have worn them and they don't mind it at all. As far as touch is concerned, like I said, it does have a knitted upper, but there is a microfiber liner on the inside, so that does take away from the softness and flexibility. The finish on the surface is just a kind of thin polyurethane coating with the non-stop grip dots running throughout. That basically is Adidas' answer to Nike's ACC, all conditions control. It's a wet control element, but honestly, you don't really notice it when you're actually wearing the shoes. The actual cut here looks to be mid-cut. Not really. It's pretty much just an extension piece. It's what they call their prime cut system. So this doesn't even wrap your ankle all that tight, which you guys will see in the on-feet portion of the video. It's there mainly for looks. You have the pull tab on the front and back, which are there mainly to allow you to get the shoe on and off a little bit more easily. I recommend using those. when you are putting them on. Inside, the heel liner is a synthetic suede material with some decent padding, so the heel liner is actually pretty nice. Insole, fully removable. This is the lightweight one. It features a mesh liner on top and perforations throughout the front 3/4 of the actual insole. And then it's just made from a single layer of this black foam. Nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern, you do have the chrome sprint frame here with the heel counter. Basically, almost exactly like what we got from the 2010 F50 Adi Zero, just with conical studs as opposed to triangular shaped studs. Gives the shoe a fairly lightweight feel on feet. And the stud pattern is technically FG-AG, so it's safe to be worn on both firm natural grass as well as artificial grass, although it definitely is more of an FG stud pattern in my opinion. Although, like I said, it does work on artificial grass as well. So if you only have enough in your budget to buy one high-end pair of shoes and you play on both natural and artificial playing surfaces, this, as well as all the current Adidas models, are technically FG-AG. It's not an amazing stud pattern, but it's something that we've been seeing from Adidas for the last several years now. It's pretty proven at this point. Most people seem to like it, so they're running with it here with the return of the sprint frame. So overall, traction is not a weak point on this shoe. It's not really a weak point on any Adidas models, but there just isn't a lot of variation in regards to traction throughout the entire brand. So that's pretty much it as far as tech specs and performance features. Again, the PureControl is not for everybody. It's one of those shoes that do your research on them before picking them up, especially if you don't have the opportunity to try them on. But when it comes to trying them on, if you put them on and they don't feel right, that's not going to change after break-in. There's no adjustability. If you put them on and they feel bad, exchange them, get a different pair, because like I said, it's not going to improve after wear time. When it comes to weight, the A16 Plus PureControl is relatively light, which we're gonna see right now as I weigh them in real time using this scale. So keep in mind, this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. We're gonna throw them on the scale and you can see that they weigh in at 7.95 ounces, the equivalent of 225 grams. So right at the 8-ounce mark, which isn't heavy. It's not overly light either. There are lighter models on offer from other brands as well as Adidas themselves. It really, again, just depends on what you're looking for. I don't think the main appeal of the PureControl is the fact that they're kind of light. It's definitely the fact that it is a laceless shoe. That's why people are looking to buy these things. So if you are looking to get them, again, be wary of the laceless system, do your research on the shoe, but just know as well that it's not overly light, but they're certainly not gonna weigh you down either. As far as the looks and colorway is concerned, I actually really like how these look. This is of course part of the Mercury pack, so you do have the shiny metallic silver upper. That's almost a chrome on this particular shoe versus what you get from the X and Messi models. It's cool that it shows off the texturing of the prime knit upper pretty significantly. You have the Adidas stripes on the lateral side that are basically like a matte black into a glossy black there at the top, which is kind of cool. On this particular colorway, they did introduce the Nsg branding there on the medial side, something that we haven't seen on previous colorways. Previous ones still had non-stop grip dots. It just never had the branding, so that's something that they've added. And also for the first time with pretty much all the colorways of this shoe, they made the center part, the laceless area, more of a contrast color as opposed to the same color as the rest of the upper. So you have this bright solar yellow, which is just a neon yellow color running through the middle, really showing off the fact that this is a laceless shoe, which I thought would look kind of goofy, but honestly it doesn't look all that bad. You have a little bit of a darker, almost mustard yellow within the collar here at the top, the pull tabs with the Ace logo in black, as well as the Adidas branding right there on the heel as well. And then of course you do have the sprint frame, which is basically a mirrored chrome finish with translucent solar yellow studs. This also does come with a warning sticker letting you know that the finish on the sole plate will wear off over time, so keep that in mind. Not something that's going to affect performance, but it will affect, or impact I should say, the look of the shoe. But based on my experience, it doesn't wear away all that quickly, but everyone's experience will be a little bit different in regards to the wear of the color on the sole plate. So let me know what you guys think of these down below in the comment section. Do you like how they look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so you can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the PureControls on feet. This is one of those shoes that it's really, really hard to describe the feel of. You kind of have to try them on for yourself, and everyone's gonna have their own kind of perspective of how the shoe fits just because of the lack of adjustability. So depending on the shape of your foot, the size of your foot, the width of your foot, the volume of your foot, it's just going to feel different for everyone. That's why some people have loved their experience with this shoe, and some people, like myself, haven't been so happy with them. As far as the overall fit of the shoe is concerned, like I said earlier in the video, yes, it does have a prime knit upper, but there's a lot of reinforcement on the inside. So the upper does have a stiffer overall sensation than you might expect. With that said, across the top of your foot, you don't necessarily have that same level of stiffness. It's elasticated in two separate areas. So it's tight on the sides, but not so tight across the top, which is kind of unusual and I guess takes some getting used to. But again, that's kind of the nature of this laceless system. You can also see that there's some creases there. It really just depends on how the shoe fits your foot specifically. And that's not something you can really adjust. It's just going to happen based on how that shoe fits your foot. Once it's on, that's how it's going to fit. That's how it's going to feel. A lot of people have had questions about these things overstretching. That's not something I've had any issues with, and not something I've really heard people having issues with. For the most part, the upper is pretty well reinforced. And you have two layers of elasticated material across the top of your foot, which doesn't seem to overstretch either. What I will say in regards to the way the shoe fits though, is that because there isn't anything really pushing your foot into the base of the sole plate, there is a lot of extra pressure on your heel. It's not slipping, but it wants to slip just because, again, nothing's actually locking your heel inside of the shoe. So again, heel pressure is something that I consistently feel. And again, the lack of just general lockdown across the top of your foot where something is driving your foot into the base of the sole is really my main issue with this laceless system. As far as width is concerned, the shoe's not overly tight fitting, but it definitely does have some stiffness, especially here on the lateral side where you do have the Adidas stripes. That is a particularly tight area of the shoe through the midfoot, whereas the forefoot toe box area is a little bit higher volume. But again, it's one of those shoes that it's not super wide, it's not particularly narrow. I think most people will be able to get their foot inside the shoe, but you kind of have to try them on to really determine whether or not they fit you well or you like how they feel at all. So they'll fit most people. If you have really wide feet, probably not the best option for you, but you really have to make that call for yourself based on how the shoe fits your foot specifically as to whether or not it's a good choice for you. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Mercury Pack Adidas A16 Plus Pure Control. For more info on where to buy, check out the review page on my website. That's the very first link in the description of this video. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, thanks for watching.